Welcome to episode 72 of the State of the Market for Law Firm Sales in 11 Minutes. My name is Jeremy Pook, and I lead Senior Attorney Match. In today's episode, we will address the 4.5 reasons why MSOs have arrived to the legal industry. So let's jump right into it. So when it comes to MSOs entering into the legal industry, it's really four and a half reasons why. So let's first make sure we define what an MSO is. An MSO is a managed services organization. MSOs have entered into the legal industry really over the last couple of decades, but primarily in the mid 2020s is where we are hearing much more about the entry of managed service organizations. They are managing all aspects of a law firm except for the provision of the legal services themselves, such that the MSO is not running afoul of unauthorized practice of law. So, why have MSOs entered into the legal industry? So, when it comes to why MSOs have entered into the legal industry, there's four and a half reasons. Okay. Reason number one is the clients. Okay. MSOs, which are backed by private equity. Okay. The private equity dollars that are funding the MSOs that are investing in law firms and then managing the non-legal services side of law firms. What are they looking for? They want repeat business. They want predictable business. And of course, they want to be making a profit off of the business that comes into the law firm. The first reason why MSOs have now entered the legal industry is because there is much greater predictability and repetitiveness of clients today, because clients today have changed their behaviors, whereas clients pre-Google, pre-2020 would be asking via word of mouth, who do you recommend as the best, let's say, divorce attorney, best trust and estates attorney, best personal injury law attorney? And who would get those recommendations would be typically Rainmaker attorneys. Well, who does everybody and anybody ask today when we need anything and everything, right? We're going to Google, we're going to AI. Who's the best attorney near me? Who do you recommend ChatGPT for this fact situation? And by investing in multi-channel digital marketing, which private equity dollars can do via via MSOs, they can be putting out significant digital marketing dollars to attract the attention so we can add to greater predictability and greater repetitiveness of clients coming to law firms. Again, that reason number one is because client behavior has changed. Now let's look at reason number two. So reason number two is that, all right, if client behavior changed, then law firm marketing behavior has also changed. And we have seen an absolute revolution when it comes to the digital marketing for lawyers and law firms in an unbelievably short amount of time. Essentially, and let COVID have never happened. But when we were home for so many months and we all just ordered everything and anything on Amazon and Grubhub and started, working out, at home by watching, workout type videos. We utilize, our devices today, as Gary Vaynerchuk will say, our smartphones are essentially the remote controls of our lives. Well, that has been realized by growing law firms that now recognize that to develop business in the mid 2020s, heading towards 2030, predictably into the 2030s, is that we develop business via Google, via AI, social media, websites, webinars, YouTube videos, podcasts, all so that those clients that are searching for law firms can get to know, like, and trust lawyers in advance of making a call. Whereas yester-year, clients would rely on that word of mouth recommendation. Well, today, if they're asking ChatGPT for the best attorney for their situation, and a law firm is coming up because they have invested the dollars together with the talented lawyers at their law firms that produce the content to attract the attention of clients, well, those MSOs have now come into the legal industry because they recognize that, all right, if we invest in multi-channel digital marketing, we can more repetitively and predictably bring in clients that we can provide services for profitably. Now let's look at the third reason. The third reason why MSOs have entered into the legal industry is because of the changing nature of lawyers. Okay, whereas lawyers of yesteryear, and what I mean by yesteryear is essentially from the baby boomer generation. At that point, generations going forward, X, millennials, we're getting into alpha. Okay, there is observe, if there is such a word as observantly, what we continuously observe among younger attorneys is that they do not want to open their own law firms. That today's younger attorneys want a reliable, predictable, and safe job. As we all know, work-life balance is a huge part of today's lexicon. It's in today's lifestyle, is that people want to have a work-life balance. What that translates into in the legal industry is lawyers that want a reliable, predictable, and safe job. So why do MSOs get attracted to law firms for younger lawyers that want a reliable, predictable, and safe job? It's because if you can provide from a services standpoint an environment where the lawyers do not need to develop their own book of business, right? When I went to law school, it was told to us that, all right, you weren't going to meet with clients immediately, but at some point you got to build a book of business, because that's your insurance for the rest of your career, is by having a book of business. Well, today's younger lawyers, because they want a reliable, predictable, and safe job, if the law firm can take care of and generate the clients, then what we need with those talented lawyers is essentially to provide them with an environment where they can practice for years to come. They don't need to develop the business, they just need to do the work. And that adds to that repetitive and predictable nature of what the MSOs and private equity is looking for, because you're not going to be as much turnover in law firms, because the lawyers today do not have similar books of business, similar portables that could go to competitive firms. It's still going to happen, of course, but we're absolutely seeing that the lawyers today, younger lawyers today, because they're not developing their own books of business, is actually attractive to MSOs, because they can continue, that is, the MSOs can continue to provide an environment for reliable, predictable, and safe job. Now let's add the half, right? We said there's 4.5 reasons. So it's really at 3 that we're going to go to the half. When it comes to the key employee lawyers, the additional half is the addition of legal tech, right? That is, that your lawyers today, we're all getting used to AI, but AI is absolutely going to provide younger lawyers, or really tomorrow's legal workforce, with tools to practice more efficiently. And that is something that MSOs are bringing to the marketplace as well. That is by being able to invest in the top legal tech tools for the lawyers that want a reliable, predictable, and safe job, to offer those AI tools in their workplace, so you can do the work and you can actually get the work done in essentially an 8 to 6 type of environment, maybe even less hours, maybe sometimes more, but you don't need to do business development anymore. You don't need to do as much research as you needed to do in yesteryear, because of legal tech. Hence that third reason, key employee lawyers, providing them with reliable, predictable, and safe jobs, is attractive to MSOs. And now let's look at the fourth reason. The fourth reason why MSOs have come into the legal industry is because of the potential profits on sales of the MSO at some point. So there's two types of sales that happen with the involvement of MSOs. First is the purchase of law firms. So really, as a reminder, because MSOs are not law firms, and because they have to be very cognizant of unauthorized practice of law, the purchase is for all aspects of the firm outside of the actual provision of law. We've seen that in medical. We've seen it in dental to a certain extent, to whichever states where accountants, you can't own the accounting firm, particularly dental and medical provide examples for where the lawyers can run a law firm, the MSO runs the non-law firm side of providing the of being the law firm outside of providing the legal services. By the way, we're all getting used to this. Just to point out my sort of fumbling here, on what the MSO is providing. But let's get back to the profitability. So MSO comes in with the funding from private equity and can come in and purchase the non-lawyer side of law firms. Then when the MSO is building up that profitability of the firm, that is by bringing in clients on a predictable basis, repeat clients, having a stable, steady, and knowledgeable, experienced workforce that consists of lawyers and non-lawyers. As the profitability of the MSO increases, that fourth reason why MSOs are entering into the legal industry is they absolutely predict that the multiples for the value of the MSO, that managed service organization that's providing managed services to one, and often it's going to be multiple law firms that MSOs will provide their managed services to, that their profitability, their EBITDA value is going to increase. The multiple for the sale of their EBITDA value is going to increase, and we're going to see sales of MSOs within the next couple of years, which is also attracting MSOs into the legal industry at this time. And that is episode 72 of the State of the Market for Law Firm Sales in a little bit more than 11 minutes today.